But there is, in fact, a war on Fox. And the war on Fox was on Fox Live today.
Oh, Fox News is evil. Fox News is evil.
Laura Ingle, our intrepid reporter, used to be in L.A., and then she was in Dallas, and now she's in New York. She was out doing a story about, this iPhone. When this guy comes by and reaches in and grabs the microphone and jostles her around and steals it. Fox haters can come up to us on the street, try to mug us, and we go after him. That guy was later taken into custody. You know why? Because he got away, but he was stupid enough to come back and sit on his car, threatening to do it again. And Fox people said, "Officer, there he is."
Dumb hippie.
This is. Who are those people that have that website that are always trying to hassle us?
Which one? I mean, there's like 1,000 of them.
Right. Well, isn't there one that's like more prominent than others?
Media Matters.
No, it's not them. They're not brave enough. Crooks and Liars?
Yeah. Defeat liberals.
Anyway, this guy went after, he should have stolen the iPhone and made, he grabs a microphone. He's dragging Laura Ingle down the street. She'd probably beat the crap out of him, which is, I'd give her the quad of Gibson if she did that. Bill Moyers. And Bill Moyers, when I was there when MSNBC started. I was actually there before it started. When it went on the air, there was a show that I later inherited called Internight. And the idea behind Internight was that we were going to get 5 big NBC stars to do one night each. And then the viewers would just flock to see Katie, Matt Lauer, Bob Costas, Bill Moyers, and Tom Brokaw. Well, Moyers grew bored with it instantly. Hardly did any shows at all. And after about, 6-8 months of maybe a year of this show doing disastrously, all it was doing is proving to the world that Tom Brokaw could get a 0, that Katie Couric could get a 0, that Bob Costas could get a 0. They let me take over the show to do about a year's worth of raving about Princess Diana. Bill Moyers met me at a party once, and the look on his face would curdle milk. He's attacking Fox now.
Rupert Murdoch is no saint. He is to propriety what the Marquis de Sade was to chastity.
What? I take it he doesn't like Rupe.
When it comes to money and power, he's carnivorous, all appetite and no taste. He'll eat anything in his path.
Angry Rich points out that all Moyers did was add some spice and essentially lift the point of view taken from the New York Times.
Yeah, do your own reporting.
Hit piece on Rupert, which had nothing in it. And here's what he says about Fox.
His worst offense with Fox News is not even its baldly partisan agenda.
What?
Far worse is the travesty he's made of its journalism.
What?
Fox News huffs and puffs, pontificates and proclaims, but does little serious original reporting.
What?
His tabloids sell babes and breasts, gossip and celebrities. Now he's about to bring under the same thumb one of the few national newsrooms remaining in the country.
What does Bill Moyers sell?
Boredom.
He sold LBJ for years. Sold the Vietnam War for years. I think, these super liberals, I think mostly they have guilty consciences. Then there is, over at the perennial third place MSNBC, Dan Abrams, who is both the general manager and fill-in host, and has a real Jones for O'Reilly. Now, Dan Abrams, who has his mother and his father watching, and then not many others. It seems like the gnat going after the elephant. Dan is huffing and puffing about an outrage over something O'Reilly said, which is a perfectly reasonable thing for him to have said, a perfectly decent observation, but Dan's just trying to pick a fight.
Friends and family of wrestler Chris Benoit, his wife and 7-year-old son, still grieving tonight, just days after the grisly murder-suicide at the wrestler's Atlanta area home. But that does not stop Fox's Bill O'Reilly from blaming Benoit's wife for her own death and blaming murdered Ohio mother Jessie Davis for not seeing the warning signs before she was killed.
Let's hear it.
In both of these terrible situations, the men involved were troubled and chaotic, and the women involved had to know that. Those ladies made big mistakes. They were obligated to protect their children, and I submit by allowing the chaos they allowed, they did not protect them.
Okay, now, there is nothing unreasonable about what O'Reilly said. You know, here's a woman, Jessie Davis, who might want to, wake up and smell the coffee. There's something wrong with Bobby Cutts, and she shouldn't be hanging around with him. And it led to her death. A perfectly reasonable observation on the part of Bill O'Reilly.
He says he's not blaming them, though. My take, this is an absolute outrage. I'm so tired of people like O'Reilly blaming the victims of violent crimes for their own demise.
Well, who is it has an obligation to escape, Dan? When a woman sees herself a victim of a steroid-taking, roid rage batterer, should she hang around the house, Dan? Is that your lawyerly advice?
His lectures on what a dead crime victim should have or could have done now that she's dead is an insult to their families and to all victims of violent crime.
An insult!
I would hope that organizations and individuals who support crime victims will make sure their voices are heard by Fox News and its parent company News Corp on this one.
Insult! You know what's an insult? To GE stockholders. That MSNBC is sucking money out that should be profit. And I am a GE stockholder. MSNBC ought to be closed. It's his fault. He's the general manager.
I'm going to ask you to call up your former prosecutor, the victims' rights groups that you know of and that you worked with, and ask them to get involved here, because this is an outrage and there should be some accountability here. Bill O'Reilly's always calling for accountability. It's time for some accountability on his part. I hope that you do that. Let me know how that goes. We'll see you a little bit later in the program.
Dan, you're my boss. You can be sure I'll do it.
John DePietro, thanks a lot for coming on and trying to defend the...
Dan, you're my boss. You can be sure I'll do it. This is an outrage. I can't even say it like he does.
What a phony.
Oh, he's so full of it. I mean, come on. If you're out there and you're living with a chaotic man who takes drugs, let's say methamphetamines, and has crazy rages, or takes steroids and has crazy rages, you're a woman with the kids, do you have an obligation to get out of that house? O'Reilly thinks you do, and so do I. Dan Abrams evidently thinks you should stay there and die.
A cowboy in a Brooks Brothers suit.
I come from Texas.
Gibson.
Saddle up.
On Fox News Talk.